Hey everyone, it's Rogue Leader, and in this video we will be building the Remnant Empire from Star Wars out of LEGO. The Remnant Empire was a faction of old Imperials that survived the Battle of Endor and the Battle of Jakku. We see this group primarily in The Mandalorian Seasons 1, 2, and 3, as well as the show Ahsoka. But due to the fact that I have none of the parts or minifigures I would need for the Ahsoka show, as well as the minifigures being way too expensive, I've decided for this video to only do Imperials from The Mandalorian. I will be doing my best to do these in chronological order, so let's start with Season 1. Starting off with the very first Imperial we see in The Mandalorian, the Imperial Stormtrooper. But these guys are no longer the clean, white armor soldiers we love. Instead, their armor is dirty and damaged due to the many years these boys have spent on the front lines. To give these troopers dirty and old armor, I mixed and matched parts from the Stormtrooper and Sand Troopers. The recent Sand Troopers, however, have printed shoulder pauldrons, so I had to go all the way back to 2012 to get some Sand Trooper torsos. I also gave one of them a Stormtrooper torso with some blaster marks in it to give these troops some variations. Finally, I gave them all brick arms, blasters, and they were ready to kill Mando and retrieve their prize. But every good empire needs its leader, so now let's build the mysterious client that gives Mando his mission. I used DJ's torso and legs for the trench coat, Snape's head to give him an accurate look, and Alfred's hairpiece to complete the character. Now let's build his right-hand man, Dr. Pershing. To start, I used the torso from the Imperial crew member. I pulled these dual-molded legs off the raccoon lady to give him his boots. Then I replaced the head with Bodhi Rooks to give him a beard and glasses, and the hair came from Wen Wu, but it's come in a lot of places. I also switched out the hands for more accurate skin tone. Now we have the final episodes of Season 1. The first troopers we are introduced to are Scout Troopers. These didn't seem to be very different from the standard Scouts, so I took two from my collection. One to ride a speeder bike, and another I gave a bag so that he can put Grogu in it when they capture him and kill Queel. Towards the end of the episode, we are introduced to Moff Gideon's Stormtroopers and Death Troopers. These soldiers are much cleaner than the previous ones, so I just used the normal Stormtrooper and Death Troopers. As for Moff Gideon, I just used the regular figure, but I added detailed legs that have come in a lot of Imperials. The final figure we have to build for Season 1 is the legendary Incinerator Troop. For this figure, I started with the Imperial Shock Trooper as a base. I then added a red pauldron from a First Order Stormtrooper, as well as a backpack I built with some clips and black lightsaber hilts. Finally, to build the flamethrower, I used a medium-sized blaster, a 1x1 black cylinder, and a stud with holes so I could add fire. Now let's move on to Season 2. Now, getting into the second season of The Mandalorian, unfortunately, we don't see any Imperials until the third episode. In this episode, Bo-Katan and her warriors recruit Mando to help steal an Imperial transport. The only Imperials we see are standard Stormtroopers and some Imperial officers, so you can just use whatever from your collection. So we can move along from those quickly. The next episode we get to is Episode 6. In this episode, we get a ton of new troops. The first one is a Stormtrooper Commander, which can easily be made by adding an orange pauldron from a Sand Trooper onto any Stormtrooper. The next two for Season 2 are the Imperial Mortar Trooper and the Dark Trooper. Fortunately, LEGO has already made both of these, so we don't have to worry about that in this video. In Episode 7, we get to see some more Shore Troopers, but unfortunately, I don't have any of them in my collection, and they're a little pricey, so we shall move along.
Move along. Move along.
In Episode 7, we also see an Imperial officer named Officer Valen Hess. To build him, I used the head from DJ in a standard Imperial uniform, but used some dual-molded legs. And the final minifigure is another officer, Elia Kane, who we see helping Moff Gideon in the second and third season of the show. To build her, I grabbed this Imperial officer from the Kenobi show and gave her dual-molded legs and a black hairpiece. Now let's move on to the third season of The Mandalorian. Just like Season 2, it takes a while to actually see any Imperials. The first ones we see are pretty boring, those being TIE Fighter pilots from the third episode. So I grabbed a standard pilot and threw him in a TIE Interceptor, and we were finished. We then have to wait for Episode 7 to finally get some more Imperials, but these ones are actually cool. The first ones we see are these Imperial Beskar Commandos. They were a big surprise to see, and I love their look. Unfortunately, there aren't any figs that are perfect, but I think the minifigure that comes the closest is the Imperial Patrol Trooper from Solo. I just took that minifigure and gave him a jetpack. The jetpack I think works best as the First Order Stormtroopers, but a good alternate would be the standard jetpack in white that we've been getting for years. Next are the Praetorian Guards. These guys were even harder to make. Personally, I think the best way to build them is by putting a red Sith Trooper helmet on the Praetorian Guards Battle Pack minifigures from the movie. I also made each of them a custom weapon, and I think building them is pretty self-explanatory. And now it's time for the final minifigure of this video, Mandalorian Armor Moff Gideon. To build this, I used Moff Gideon's body and added the 5th Brother's armor piece and legs from Crosshair. I then used Mace Windu's head because he doesn't have a mustache in this episode. Finally, I gave him the Grand Inquisitor's helmet from Star Wars Rebels. And just like that, we have finished all the customs for the Mandalorian Season 1 through 3 Remnant Empire. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for sticking around for so long. Leave a like if you want me to post more videos like this, maybe upgrading clone troopers or building the new empire from the Bad Batch. We will just have to wait and see. Anyways, bye.